So there it is, finished. Spicy tuna with ramen, cooked on a little alcohol stove. Now, I don't really think the video should be completed. I know my little guy gave it the, well, he just kept chewing of approval and took mine. Hi, I'm Jay. Welcome to my big front yard today. We're going to do some more backyard bushcraft baking or cooking. You can do it in the front yard. You can do it anywhere you want. It's going to be some more ramen noodles. It's a classic. And going to add some spice and throw in some tuna. My son loves both those together. I'm going to turn into a bushcraft tuna melt in the front yard because, well, hey, it's hot out here right now. Probably my last hot weekend until next year. And there's some shade, so why not? And got a nice little spot to do it. And hopefully you guys think this one's tasty. Try it at home, and we'll see what my son thinks too. I told him I'm drafting you. You're going to come out here and tell everyone how this tastes. Just taking a close-up look at the engine for today, or stove, and that is a Trangia alcohol stove. And I have the TR72 or 70-something set. The middle one should be good for cooking for 2, maybe 3 people. Definitely, you could do 4, but you'd want some bigger pots. I think this one's pretty decent as far as your fuel packs into it, and then you've got all the pots you need. I'm going to pan out here and show you everything, but today is not about that. I think it does a decent job though. So you've got a variety of pots, pot holders, and so on. And I have my ingredients over here. So what we've got going on down here, I'm just going to zoom into that if I can, is look over at the spices a little better. So this combination of spices is actually 1 whole dehydrated onion, probably 1.5 actually. Easy enough to do if you chop it up. Fire that into one of those ninjas with the air cook and leave it on for a few hours. You'll see they shrivel right up, but they dehydrate just fine. Mixed in there, I threw in a teaspoon of garlic, 1 teaspoon, not quite, of pepper, some salt. What else did I put in there? Oh, just a little poultry seasoning for some extra flavor. And one of the reasons I did that, well, I like all that stuff, but also because the ramen noodles, which I'll pan over to over here, I had in a big bag, not quite bulk, but an 8-pack from our budget store. It was $3 for 8, so can't beat the price. But you didn't get any seasoning. We need some seasoning. And then my son's favorite thing, some tuna. Now, something to note, if you notice, I pressed out the water. Those cans are only actually half full, very deceiving. And if I could get the bags around here, I would. If I want to take that camping, I'd actually take that out of there, dehydrate that, and fire that into a little Ziploc. In fact, you probably wouldn't even have to dehydrate it, but I just like to do that to lighten some of the weight. And it all works great as long as you have some water to sit it in, either cold for the whole day, not as nice, or a little bit of hot water. I feel like using the hot water technique to rehydrate your food just seems to have more flavor than letting it sit in the cold, and I have no idea why. Maybe the heat brings out the flavor. So we're going to pan out a bit. Have almost everything we need here. We've got our tuna, ramen, 1.5, our spices, the 2 cans of tuna. Well, there's 2 of us, and there's not a lot of tuna in those cans, and a little bit of basil. I prefer butter, didn't have any, or you could use some vegetable oil or olive oil. Just get a bit of oil in there, mixed in with the spices, and rehydrate your onions there. The other thing I also had was I have just under a cup of peas hanging around here somewhere. I'll find those. I was saying I'll find those, and they were staring right at me, but being a blind guy, I miss stuff sometimes. They were cleverly disguised as a little silver container of peas, really, so not that well disguised in. But I'll be honest, I have red-green issues, and I think there's a red tone in that wood and green in the peas. Now that I'm looking at them, I can see the difference, but sometimes that just disguises for me. So I'm going to throw that in there too. And then, of course, we have some cheese, so let's pan back out for that. Let's get this thing lit. I'm going to pan out. I have no idea what you can see. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much here. I'll just reach over and talk to you the whole time. And we're going to want to get our lighter. So we got the lighter. Just have some safety equipment like your handy dandy Star Wars gripper grabber. That was handy. And have a fire extinguisher over that way. You wouldn't normally have that in the bush. We need our pot grabber. Simmering. I don't actually use this much. I haven't experimented with it. Stove is pretty easy. Pop that down. Now this is alcohol gel, hand sanitizer out of the pump. A lot of people say it doesn't work. I actually find it does just fine. You want to see the flame, throw a pinch of salt in there and get a nice orange color. The harder part here is more likely lighting it, getting it down in there. And once it gets going, a bit of heat off that. So what you want to do is let that heat up for a minute or so, but before it gets too hot, and it's starting to heat up there, I'm going to put the stand on here, and I'm going to fold these up because I want to use a frying pan. I don't know why, but I just like to fry up spices, and especially if there's onion, I get it a bit reconstituted. Make sure this is seated properly. We'll put our lid for this over here, and this here is just the extra stuff that came in it. This is a 900 ml pot, and you got the world's smallest tea container, a little piece of plastic to hold that in, and the strap for the bottom. Fire lighter in there too. Now we don't need that anymore. But really, one coffee on there and even a half. So I might go back and get some salt so we can see that flame in a second. But let's just let's see what it does for a minute. Some salt here. Hopefully you can see that. It's a bit more of an orange flame coming out of there every now and again. Just makes it easier to spot. Depends on the lighting. This is really important with an alcohol stove. Depending on the alcohol type, but most of them are going to be really light blue or even white. One of the dangers around cleaning your hands with Purell around a campfire, and we've been using a lot of alcohol cleaner, is you get too close to that fire, you could have a pretty hot situation, and other people around you might not understand what's going on. All right, just getting set up, and hopefully I'm going to be out of the road so you can see what I'm doing. But right now, just going to set this up to put some water on the stove. Probably get that boiling first, because then we can do some of the frying while the ramen noodles are soaking. So what I have in here is about 2 cups or 500 ml of water. I find that goes well with 1 pack of ramen, sometimes 2.5. It depends the brand. What I'm going to do is fold these feet down. That's going to let us get our stove closer to the flame, but as well, it's meant to fit with this pot. I think this is actually the 1000 ml, and I think the other one that goes inside is 900. So that's it. These grippers are pretty stable. The stove's going to be fine. I'm not sure what we can see in there, so I will put a lid on that. It makes me think of Put a Ring on It song, eh? But I'll spare you. I did a little thing with that once before at work for a fundraiser, so weird things pop in my mind. That was one of them. We'll put a lid on it, not a ring on it, and that's just going to be the frying pan lid. Seems to work fine. This usually takes about 6 minutes. I'm not going to time it. I've done that before. Now, when I put the frying pan lid on there, it's still got a spatula full of butter here. That's all right. No issue. I want to melt the butter anyway. But that's not going to fry it up the way I would like. It'll just start melting the butter, and then I'll add the spice in there. So coming here, it's about 3-4 minutes after I started this, so I don't want to lift the lid, see if there's a boil going on, but it's not like the margarine on top is frying or anything. It is melting though, so it's warm, but I expect that because that pot up top shouldn't get hotter than 100 degrees. That's the temperature of steam, and we don't have a lot of it hitting there yet. And the only reason I'm keeping that on there is to trap the heat. You're going to boil your water faster. Welcome back. I'd say that's a rolling boil, but we'll look and check now. Put the pan here a little bit differently, but let some of the air out. Sometimes it's a little slippy, but hopefully you can catch the steam there. So time for the noodles. I like leaving them in there for a minute or two while it's still on the heat, but you don't have to. I've pulled them off either way. With 1.5, which is a little more noodle than you probably want in there, but only a little. We're hungry today. Put that back down. I just want to let that go until it gets a little more steam coming out of it again, because we let a lot of the heat escape. And the noodles themselves, because they weren't up to 100 degrees, they'll actually cool it a bit. Once that's warmed up again, we'll pull that off and start the frying. Well, time to get those noodles off for sure. So we'll grab the old mitt so it doesn't slide so much the pan, just because my aim's off a little sometimes. You can see it's good. A lot of the water's off there, but not fully. Things really going in good now, and it's the only reason we're seeing it is because of that salt. Now, I did come out here just in case I needed more, because I didn't have a full container, and I didn't bring Purell, I just got the isopropyl, but probably not needed. It still seems to be going pretty good. If you were to have to refuel, you don't want to make sure that fire's out and let it cool off before you try and pour anything in there, or you're going to get one heck of a flame. Okay, so that's looking good. What I'm going to do there is take these half I'm just going to pan over here a little bit more clearly, and you can see flame is really rocking now. And we'll just focus in on the food there for a second, the noodles, because I just dumped the peas in there. You get that in the shot. And I give them a mix, and I let them sit. And I might flip the other pan over top, not the frying pan, because I'm going to need that. Okay, make sure if you're a young person, you have adult supervision before you go out and start up a flaming stove on your front porch and cook up some ramen. Although your parents probably won't be so upset that you're using some peas. I don't know what they think about the ramen for as far as nutrition. In the next phase, which will also be fun, tuna and butter and spices or basil. That's what I'm going to do for now. I am semi-cover the noodles. And that's just so this way, just so we can get that frying pan on there. So I'm going to pan out a bit again. Once that thing gets some air to it, holy smokes, it gets going, doesn't it? That's pretty good. I'm gonna put the pan on there, and we'll get cooking some more. Now you get the sizzle going. That's good. You could throw on a simmer ring, but I can always just pick it up. I'm not gonna be on there long. I really just want to get all these spices, which is an onion, probably about an onion and a half dehydrated. Teaspoon of garlic, some pepper, salt, some poultry seasoning. Oh, knocked my lid off. Come back at you. Just going to grab the side of that pan and just kind of want to get some butter in there. And what that'll do, or basil or oil, is it'll rehydrate the dehydrated onions a little bit. But I don't know, it's something magical about getting in there and frying your stuff. Now, if you need some more oil, go for it. You can already start to smell the heated up spice. That's part of it too, I think. You get a lot more smell when it's heated. I'm gonna let this go a little bit, and then we're gonna put some tuna in there. And you could just dump it right in the noodles with your peas. I'm gonna give that a stir over here. Start to heat up from that. And we'll dump it all together in a minute. I don't know if I'll transfer from here to the frying pan. That might be a way to go. You get a bit of a stir fry going, or what. We'll see. There's quite a lot here. Definitely can feed. I would say I have a little snack after and some drinks. You're probably getting 3 good meals out of that, or 4 if you're not as hungry as me. But we are going to go to the tuna. Just going to take the lid off here. Most of the juice was squeezed out, don't know the proper term, and so get that in there, get that up nice. Just seems to bring the flavor out. Now, again, you could lighten your weight by popping this in a Ziploc if you want, and even dehydrate it. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to add the cheese. It's the best way to get the cheese melt going. Garbage truck going by, so I apologize for that. I feel the warm back here. Hit my side of the road first, now they're doing the neighbors. I think we're at the midway point in the run, so they kind of do the U-turn. Get that warmed up. We'll let it go. We might need a little bit more butter. Hard to say. Depends how much that's going to soak up, and so this is kind of trial and error, no exact measurements, and you do what you like. You might not want that oil in there. I think it does a good job with it. Hey bud, so come on out and smell this. What are you smelling there? Yeah, what we got in there?
Tuna.
Yeah, and then the spices and onions. We'll come back and try with the ramen
and
after.
water.
You're going to be, that's right. No, a bit of oil. You're a taste tester. You'll be back. All right. Thanks, everyone.
I'll be back.
We got a wider shot again, and have my little guy come up with that smell. Next, we're adding that second can, just because, well, we're hungry. But you could really do fairly well with 1 pack of ramen, or 1.5, and, you know, some onions, some other veg, and 1 can of tuna, and you could feed at least 2 people, you know, and have a decent meal. Which everything depends on your sides and all that other stuff, but I'll mix that in there in a second. I gotta find my grabber thingy. See some good flame coming off of there. And I haven't played with the simmer control much on this, so I don't really do simmer control. And if it gets a little too sticky, this stuff, I mean, it's fish. It'll absorb water. We got a little popping going. Didn't expect that. Wow. Popping tuna. That's all right. We're going to be taking that off there soon. I just want to give it a little bit of heat. Might try that simmering, actually. This is my first time. Go easy here. Put this down. See if you get the flame down a bit, because I want to heat that a little while longer. So, here you got to be careful. You can just drop it straight on there if you're brave. I'm going to open the ring up, I don't know, halfway or so. But I think it might be easier for me to manage this if I can get this thing out without burning myself. Yeah, it's pretty hot right now. So, try a trick here. I'll grab this from underneath like so and lower that down on there. Seems to have worked. Now I got to release it. Guess a bit. Tone it down about, I don't know, halfway. You still got a tall flame, but there's half the tall flame. So we'll see if that's a little better. If not, I'll have to pull it back out, adjust it. I want to get my silicone gloves. It is still frying pretty good. And also hold it off a bit. Now these grabbers will get hot too, so you have to be careful because they do transfer heat pretty well. Give that a minute, and that's it. And I will just smother out the stove. And that'll be just a matter of grabbing the cap. So I can do with these grabbies again, or if you have a multi-tool. I find that just warming everything, the smell is so good. Really want to do that, and we'll see what we can fit into the ramen noodle container here. I might pull off this part just to get a better stir stick. I think that's still sizzling away. Okay, bud. What do you got in your hand there? You came out here expecting something. Well, you can see the one with the tongs in it. You can put those tongs aside on the tray. And you can pick up that dish. It's not quite ready. I want you to give that a try. So let's go slow. We want everyone to see. Hold it up a little higher so we can all see it in your face. Now give it a good sampling. Wait. Where'd you go? I lost you in the shot. Okay, bud. You're chuckling. How does it taste? You seem to be eating it still. That was my bowl. You're not going to tell everyone at home how it tastes?
Yummy.
All right. Well, it's yummy, everyone. We're going to go eat, then clean up. I'm not going to video that. Remember, this was tuna, of course, chicken of the sea. And it seems to be tasty with a can of peas, which is a little bit better for you. And he's walking away. Go ahead and take it with you, bud. But he took mine. I don't know if he knew he took mine. I'm going to have to eat his. So there it is, finished. Spicy tuna with ramen. Cooked on a little alcohol stove. Now, I don't really think the video should be completed. I know my little guy gave it the, well, he just kept chewing of approval and took mine. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to have a taste. Let's see if I can describe it. Oh, you know what I need? I don't have a fork. I'm going to grab these tongs, reach in there. I'll come down here. Hopefully I'm in the shot then, but I can see, well, we use a little bit more melting, but, you know, don't really need to add much salt. Add that garlic. The poultry seasoning goes great with tuna. Honestly, chicken of the sea. little bit of butter. I think I would have rather have used actual butternut basil. When you mix that all together with the cheese, just another one of those ramen. Oh yeah, and then tuna, you can't go wrong.